Everybody, Jim here with Michael Douglas, Kevin Feige, Peyton Reed. We're going to talk about spoilers from Ant-Man, so if you haven't seen the movie, come back and watch this after you have, because we're going to dig in deep to some of the big revelations in the movie and what it means for those characters for the MCU in general. This is the part where I'm going to get really geeky. This is the part I've been kind of champing at the bit to talk about. Peyton, let's start with you. Can you talk about the decision to include Falcon in the movie and sort of how did that kind of evolve and just...
Sure.
Because he's more than a cameo. He's in the movie quite a bit. I was pleasantly surprised. Yeah.
Well, you know, Ant-Man at its core is a heist movie, and one of the tropes of a heist movie is you've got the big heist and it's like, okay, we've got everything under control, but hold on. There's this one element we need, and in this movie, it's a device called a signal decoy that Hank Pym created back in the day. So Hank sends Scott Lang to go retrieve this piece of equipment, and he really sends him into a situation. He's not really trained or fully prepared for this yet, but there's a little miscalculation that happens in Hank's intel, and it turns out he sends him right into the middle of the Avengers headquarters. And it just so happens that the person who responds to the security call is the Falcon. And it really came about, I think, when Adam McKay and Paul Rudd came on to do the rewrites. It was one of the things that Adam McKay, who we all know is hilarious, but what you may not know is he's a huge comics nerd. Huge. And also a really incredible structuralist in terms of screenplay. And we talked about a lot of the things that we wanted to bring to the movie. And one was like, Adam was like, what if he runs into one or the other? Like, what if it's the Falcon, man? That'd be awesome. I want to see these guys battle. And the 10-year-old kid in me was like, okay, that's great. That was always one of the great joys in the comic books of like, okay, there's this character with these powers and this guy with these powers. What would happen if they met? And so Falcon just made sense. It made sense in terms of the larger storytelling in the MCU. And then I just like the idea of those two guys going up against each other. And then, of course, by the time we get to the end of the movie, we see that Ant-Man has made a certain impression on Falcon. And there may be some things coming afterwards that could be interesting.
Well, let's talk about that. All of us had been speculating, we think Evangeline she's got the haircut, she's probably going to end up being the Wasp. Obviously, we see the suit at the end. What are the plans for her actually suiting up in the future as Wasp? Will she be in Civil War?
It's one of my favorite moments of the movie when Hank opens that door and reveals the suit, and the audience goes, oh! I mean, it's really, really cool. And she says, the last line of the whole movie is, it's about damn time. So I'm not going to tell you when that time is, but we definitely have the plans and know when we're going to do it. We're going to do it when it can be more than just a cameo, when we can actually tell the story of the Wasp and see her in that for nearly the first time and get Ant-Man and Wasp in action together in a significant way.
Okay, I like that. So generally that means within the next 5 years, because you've only...
Certainly within phase 3, for sure.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. I like that. Now, let's talk about Janet Pym. I thought it was a little curious. We never see her face. Is she...
She's wearing a helmet.
Is she... True. But is she really dead, or does it work differently when you're in the subatomic level? I would have thought if she was down there all those years, like she'd have starved by now, but... A lot of people seem to think she's still alive.
Well, Hank Pym tells us, the rules of physics and space and time don't necessarily apply at that level. And the fact that people are coming out of the movie asking that question means we've succeeded to a certain extent.
Very coy. That's why we don't see her face in the photo, because yet to be cast, I guess, right?
I would also say when you watch Ant-Man, you've got to have a very keen eye. But when Scott makes his journey into the quantum realm, keep a sharp lookout for what the audience may or may not see in the quantum realm. There might be some clues in the quantum realm.
All right. Now, what are the plans, the future of Hank Pym? We want to see more of him, and is there a chance, could we at any point get the adventures of Hank and Janet back in the day, the glory days of Ant-Man and Wasp?
Well, I think that would be awesome. I mean, the truth is, step one, and what we've just been working on every day for the past however many years up until now, is working on making a movie in which people walk out saying, we want to see more of Hank Pym, we want to see more of this storyline. So if we've succeeded at that level, we definitely have storylines in mind and fun places where we think we could take those characters.
Michael, were you really disappointed they never gave you the suit?
Well, who knows? There's a couple of sequences. No, the mind blower for me was the opening sequence, which is a flashback. And I had not seen the movie until last night, but earlier in the looping stage, we had to loop a couple of lines, and they had half finished my, is it CGI work? I don't know, what do you call it when you make me 25 years younger?
It's a company called Lola, and it's a weird combination of 3D laser scan Michael's face.
So you have all these little dots, all over your face, and so they had not quite finished the scene, so I come in, with my wig on, little dots, and then halfway through the scene, they had completed this Lola work, and there I was, 30 years earlier. I said, this is cool, so I'm thinking about romancing the stone, maybe going back and, just start all over again.
Did you have to remove the goatee or anything, or?
We actually shot that, I believe it was your last day on the movie, and we shaved. Yeah.
Laser technology.
Oh yeah.
Laser
Laser
laser hair removal. There we go.
Very good.
Now we know that Hydra is still kind of active in pockets, certainly on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's been an element all this past season. What is sort of the plan for Hydra going forward? Are they going to be less of a presence now in the MCU, or?
Yeah, I think they're shattered and they're not nearly what they were, but I think they're always good fodder for us to touch upon and play with, and certainly, as you say, they're doing that in the show.
Yeah, and in Ant-Man there is that one buyer. They're like, "Hi, I'm from Hydra," and and then I'm curious, the Mandarin or Trevor Slattery. You ended with the one shot where he gets busted out. Are we ever gonna find out what happened to him in the rail Mandarin and all that jazz? I know we're off topic now and the Ant-Man thing, but I can't tell you how many people have asked me.
Well, that was the whole reason we did that. We did that short, was to have more fun and have Trevor Slattery out there in the world and a potential Mandarin out there in the world. I will tell you, it's one of my favorite things about working this is we can announce and have announced, almost a dozen movies over 5 years, and the first questions are always, well, what about this other thing? Well, what about this thing? What about that other thing? I go, what an amazing, an amazing universe. And mainly when people ask about other characters from the comics, it's a tribute to Marvel and to the depth of those characters that you can announce almost a dozen movies and still get questions about, what about this person, this person, this person?
Well, speaking of fandom, I know, Michael, you've talked in the past about Wall Street guys and business guys coming up to you and just missing the point of Gordon Gekko, This is an entirely different type of fandom. What was sort of your reaction, because you were at Comic-Con last year, what was sort of your reaction to I'm used to the Wall Street guys coming up to me talking about greed is good, this is a whole new beast.
One of the big funds for me in being involved with Ant-Man is living through my 14-year-old son. And he came down to Comic-Con with us. And whatever I might say about our Comic-Con viewers, he looks and says, Dad, you don't understand. You don't understand. You got a whole new audience. Yeah. I said, well, I think I know that. There's a whole new audience. He said, my guys, because most of my career, is R-rated movies.
Yeah.
So my kids haven't even seen a whole bunch of my pictures. So this has been a real treat. And I've been in the business about 45 years, and in my son's eyes, I finally made it.
My last kind of spoiler question is, obviously Ant-Man and now Spider-Man's been announced. You got two insect-themed superheroes. Is there going to be some sort of acknowledgement of that, some sort of fun moment planned between these two guys, kind of some sort of bug-off, if you will, between them? Come on, you got to have it. You got to have a bug-off.
Great title for a movie, Bug Off.
Sort of bug off.
It's like the new Face Off. It's Bug Off.
Those are heavy spoilers, but certainly should they ever meet, somebody should point out the insect camaraderie, I would imagine.
You throw a wasp in the mix. It's a whole. That's your whole Phase 4 right there. It's all bug stuff all the time, and that's when you bring in my idea of the Marvel branded ant farms.
Right.
It's got to happen.
Bring it
You
around.
heard it here
Bring it
first.
around.
I'm going to invest in Raid.
There you go. Guys, thank you so much for
Thank you,
joining us
Jim.
today. Thanks for doing a spoiler cast. I know it's always a sensitive thing to talk about, but we're not going to run it until the movie comes out. For all things Marvel, all things MCU, Ant-Man, everything, you keep it here on IGN.